Hi there, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. I am super excited that you're here with me. I am here today to talk to you about foreclosures and why many of us don't think that foreclosures are going to play a large role in our recession. So let's get started. Here's what we know so far. Black Knight Inc., which is a financial company, data company that compiles data and disseminates it to the mortgage and real estate industries and companies. So Black Knight Inc. has said that the forbearance, the number of forbearance or the number of households in forbearance is pretty much leveling off, which means there are not more households going into forbearance. They're actually not anymore added to them. So this tells us a couple of things. Primarily, it tells us that people are going back to work and they are able to pay their mortgage, and they have started paying their mortgages again. Black Knight also noted that of the 4.2 million households which took advantage of forbearance offers or programs, only 2.5 million of those have asked for extensions. So what that means, of course, is that the rest of those 1.7, 1.8 million households have been able to start making their mortgage payments again and are not expected to have any issues with forbearance or with foreclosures. One of the other things that we have noticed from Black Knight's data is that some of those households simply never even, they applied for their forbearance, but they simply just never ended up acting on the forbearance programs that they applied to, which is great. It means they never became delinquent and they never had an issue paying their mortgages to begin with. So what this tells us is that many homeowners are financially in a much better situation than many people think they are. We're not even close to being in the same situation that we were in 2008. About 42% of households own their homes free and clear right now, which is that's a pretty large amount of people that own their homes free and clear. They're not going to be foreclosed on, and they don't have a risk of losing their homes. Of the remaining 58% of households that have a mortgage on their properties, the average equity in those properties is about $177,000. So again, that tells us that a lot of these households, even though they have mortgages, they're not upside down on their mortgages, and they didn't borrow against their homes and have more debt than what their home is worth, which was one of the big factors that led to a housing crash in 2008. And that's just not something that we're seeing right now. One of the statements that has been rolling around and scaring people is that the United States could face, or United States households could face, a foreclosure rate double what we saw earlier this year. And while that number sounds like it's really, really big, the reality is that we just didn't have a whole lot of foreclosures to begin with. So doubling that number doesn't mean that there are a huge number of households that are in foreclosure. It simply means that there are more houses in foreclosure. Something that you would expect in a recession, although it's not something that we want anyone to have to deal with. The reality is that we do know that there will probably be an increase in foreclosures. We do know that that is going to happen. However, we also know that the increase in foreclosures is significantly less than what we saw in 2007 and 2008 and 2009 and into 2010. And there just isn't the risk of having a big glut of foreclosed homes hitting the market and depressing the value of homes in those neighborhoods. Just because we won't have nearly as many homes foreclosed on as what we saw previously. And finally, of course, one of the things that we really need to look at is, first of all, foreclosure rates are significantly lower. Equity is quite a bit higher. And we're already seeing that the economy is starting to recover a little bit. So we just don't think that we're poised to be in a situation like what we had in 2008, 2009. We just don't foresee that kind of thing happening with the housing market. If we look back historically at the last 5 recessions that this country went through, only 2 of those resulted in property values plummeting. And one of those, the one in 2008, of course, that was caused primarily by the housing market to begin with. So it would make sense that housing would take a little bit of a hit at that time. And it's not something that we're really seeing or expecting to see this time. We really think that this recession is going to be more like those other 3, where housing values continue to increase and the housing market was not something that was significantly affected by a recession. So the bottom line for sellers who might be a little bit worried about what housing is doing and what the economy is doing, again, we don't expect that there are going to be issues with housing prices having with foreclosures coming through. We don't expect that there's going to be a housing crash of any kind that people really need to worry about. There is a whole lot of equity going on out there in these mortgages that is helping people stay afloat. And there are a whole lot of options out there for homeowners that might have financial hardships that they need to speak with their lenders or their banks about. So for all of you sellers out there, I hope you found this information useful, and of course for the buyers as well. If you're looking to buy a home or sell a home and you would like more information, please give me a call or hop on over to my website at realtorchrisintampa.com. All the information is in the description below. As always, please remember to subscribe and hit the notification, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much for being here with me. I appreciate it.